Hey guys, Beth Bertati here, and today we are going to record some Hard Candy first impressions. So, recently Hard Candy sent me a bunch of stuff to try out, including their complexion line in my Pale Girl shade. So, super excited about that. Thank you so much to Rachel who made that happen, because I'm very pale and it's very hard to get things. So we're gonna start off with the Hangover primer because I know how my skin does with it. So that's going to be our primer today. I feel like using a primer that I know how my skin reacts with it is the best possible way to properly test the products. I have been applying my foundation lately with a flat top kabuki. This is the BH Cosmetics 116. So that's what we're going to use today because it's what I am used to using at this point for my foundation. I considered doing all of this with a Real Techniques sponge since it's kind of comparable to the Kat Von D. But we're going to go this route. It seems comfortable and familiar. So we're going to go ahead and start with one pump. That's probably a pump and a half since I had to kind of prime up the pump. But let's get started, see what happens. I think this might actually be too light for me, which is rare. It does fine with my neck though. I have a little bit of summer color still, so I'm not worried about it being too light. So far, it seems like it covers really well. So I definitely need more, and this is definitely lighter than my skin, which is always mind-blowing. Did about a half a pump more. So we'll say in total I did about 2 pumps. Build up a little bit of coverage on these blemishes, but we do have several concealers to test, so no worries if I don't completely cover everything. So anytime a foundation is lighter than my skin, it's kind of like bizarre for me. I'm not used to it. Obviously, I will just warm this up with a little bit of bronzer, but my brain is still like, but it's too light. What does that even mean? So that is how the foundation looks. I built up a little bit of coverage on like blemishes here, but not so much over here or there or on my forehead. So to give you an idea of how well it covers on its own. Moving on, we have this concealer as well as this concealer and the under eye brightener in Lite. I'm going to try this on one eye and I'll try this on the other eye so we can kind of see the difference in the textures. Anytime you get something in a tube like this, I always recommend starting off by kind of kneading it all together in case there has been any separation in storage. I don't have a brush that I love for concealer, so we're just going to use our finger. I have a feeling that was way too much. And we'll also try it over blemishes on this half of the face. Although I gotta say, this may be too bright for concealing blemishes because it is pretty bright. Okay, I am insanely happy with that. I'm gonna see how it looks on blemishes, but I have a feeling, so I have a mole right here, but right next to it I have a blemish right now. I have a feeling it's going to be too bright to usually wear over top of blemishes, but for testing purposes, we'll go ahead and use it today. This is definitely going to be a new favorite concealer. I can already tell. So there is that side all nice and concealed, and I want to go ahead and set that side with powder so that if there's any creasing and stuff, it's not because I was just letting it sit. So we're going to go ahead and set this half of the face with our primed and poreless powder. This is the powder I typically set my face with. That looks really, really good right now. On the other side of the face, we're going to use this guy because I'm kind of curious to see how it looks. We are going to use the lighter end, and then we'll use the slightly deeper end on blemishes. Definitely seems like it's going to have a ton of coverage, but I am super duper worried that it's going to be creasy because of it being in a stick format. So let's see. It almost has a drier, tackier like finish to it, and I don't feel like it covers quite as well, but it looks good. It does look good. Then we're going to flip that around and use the slightly darker end. Oh, maybe not. That might be too dark. Here's what we'll do. We'll use the darker end and the lighter end. So I will say between the two, I prefer the texture and finish of the liquid. However, for people who are looking for fast and easy, the stick format is definitely going to be easier to work with. All right, now we're going to set it. Oh, I shouldn't have said it because we're using a cream contour. That could make things interesting. Now we're going to see how this goes since I set my face first like a big idiot. We're going to start with the lighter end. For most people, this is supposed to be a highlight and a contour, but that won't happen for me. We're going to start with the lighter end and start to shape out our contour, and then we'll use the darker one to kind of deepen it up. Because as you can see, that's pretty dark for me. And hopefully this blends well because it's kind of all over now. Alright, so I'm going to use my usual bronzer brush. I am slightly worried about there being built up bronzer in it, but we're going to go for it. Even if there is bronzer in the brush, this is still blending out really well, which is great. Because some people had said that it doesn't blend well, and I'm not experiencing that at all. And I'm putting it over top of setting powder, so that's good. I love that all of our sunlight has gone away. Let me turn on my studio lights. I hope you guys can see me okay. The outside lighting all decided to go away. I have good feelings about it, so we're going to go ahead and flip around to the darker side. If I didn't feel good about what it was doing, I would not do this. So we're just going to go ahead and put, whew, that's dark, just on the back half of the face. I really hope it blends out. So the darker color is definitely a little more work, but it blended out just fine. So I'm not sure what the reviews online that were saying it was difficult to blend were quite talking about, because again, this is over top of setting powder and it's still blending this well. So I don't know. And then just to finish the complexion, we're going to use a couple of Pacifica products. We have Golden Lotus highlighting powder and the Blushes blush in Wild Rose. So that is going to be the finished complexion. We are going to go ahead and wear this for the day and see how it does. It is at present 11:37 a.m. and I have the studio lighting now, so I can actually check back in pretty late and see how everything is doing. So let's just jump forward to the future. So to wrap things up, don't mind anything crazy you see behind me. I've been working on straightening things out today, so it's a little messy, but, and the dog is here being cute. But I wanted to come and give my closing thoughts on how my face was looking. It's about 9:30 now, and I would have to say that overall I feel like everything held up really, really well. I will say I definitely prefer the concealer under this eye, and I do feel like there are a couple of places where I touched my face throughout the day that the makeup did transfer off. But that's not really the makeup's fault. I should probably not be touching my face. So overall, for a first impression, I feel like it looks an awful lot like it did when I put it on. I don't look shiny, I don't look oily, so I'm pretty happy with it overall. So I would have to say everything that's in this first impression gets 2 thumbs up, and I'm a happy camper. I hope you guys enjoyed this First Impression Friday, and if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button below so that you don't miss my next video, and I will see you then. Bye guys.